Well, hello. My name's Mandy, and my channel is Mandy Sorts It Out, and I've had a bit of a drama. Can't believe I can actually do a clickbaity title that's actually true. Oh my goodness. So, this is my weekly roundup of spending for the week of the 8th to 14th of November. It was a really spendy week anyway. I had spent £319.35 before 10:44 last night, and at 10:44 last night I got a message from my son, which I shall put up, asking me if I was flying with Blue Islands, and I said yes. And that's when I found out that Blue Islands had ceased trading and that my flight had been cancelled along with everybody's flights. I want to say at this point that I recognise I'm very lucky. There's an awful lot of people that this has left in terrible positions, including, I heard, that a 13-year-old child had been sent unaccompanied to go to a guide camp in the UK and had travelled over, and then the airline stopped trading, so there was no way for her to travel back. Parents must be absolutely having a fit. I'm sure the guide camp will look after this child until everything's sorted. Almost everyone I know seems to have had a flight booked with Blue Islands that has now been cancelled and has left them thinking that they won't make their holiday. I mean, some people fly Blue Island to the UK and then fly on elsewhere from the UK. So they've got to really sort things out now. Otherwise, they won't be making those holidays and they'll be losing a lot of money. I'm in a fairly good position compared to loads of people, which I'll explain in a bit. But this has really affected my budget for last week and affected my budget for the entire year, really. I'll explain what happened. But just to say, yes, if you've looked up Blue Island, it flies from and to the Channel Islands. And if you're in California, no, I do not mean the Channel Islands that are off the coast of California. I mean the Channel Islands that are off the coast of France, very tucked into the coast of France. Used to be part of France until 1066, when William the Conqueror, who was from Normandy in France, and the Channel Islands, or at least some of the Channel Islands, were part of his lands, came and invaded the UK. And King Charles III is a descendant of William the Conqueror. Let's go through the finances. So, this is for the week from the 8th to 14th of November. Now, I didn't have any income per se this week, but I realised I'd had £4.56 of interest over the last few months on one of my bank accounts, and I hadn't noticed that interest coming in. Mainly that's because I get a notification of any movements over that account, or thought I did, and I hadn't seen a notification for the interest. So I presumed that I didn't have any interest. But when I actually looked through the account, there was interest. So £4.56 that needs adding to my income. And I had the £30 gift card from Nielsen IQ Panel that I discussed in my last video. Now, originally, I thought this is great, I can spend it and I don't have to reflect that in my accounting. So I spent some of it. I've got a video about that spending that will follow me going through the financials. And then I kind of realised I'd made an error, because had somebody given me that gift card as a gift, then I would be able to spend it and not worry about reflecting the spending in the accounting. As I kind of earned that gift card by scanning my shopping, it is something that is potentially taxable. So I need to count it as income. And if it's income, it needs to go in this accounting. So my income for this week was £34.56. I have to say, this does mean I've overspent on some of my monthlies, because when I was spending in B&M, I was not thinking that I would be accounting for that spending in my monthlies, but obviously now I am, so I've kind of overspent. And that was before what happened, which has made that overspending crazy now. So, yeah, I didn't have to worry about the B&M spending, it turns out, because it's just crazy. Right, so let's get into the spending. I did 5 shops last week. I did a shop at Tesco that I bought the food for my son who was coming over for Christmas lunch. I did another shop at Tesco buying things for going away. I did a shop at Aldi buying things for going away, and I did a shop at B&M basically to get the hairdryer, but I got tempted by other things while I was there. As I said before, the B&M shop will follow. And I'm not going to go into what I bought. It's just too much to do this week. So if you want to see what I bought, you'll have to look at my last video and the next video I'm going to show, which is the B&M video. But I shall just say, in the week, I spent £22.72 on food. I spent £5.50 out of the Bristol budget. It was just on something to take down with me next time I go. Then I spent £117.43 out of my gift budget. I don't buy gifts for anybody at Christmas, but I give my children some money to help them through Christmas. And I gave my son that lives near me his money to help him through Christmas, as well as some other gift spending, partly out of the Christmas section of that gift spending on foods and things for Christmas, but also on a card for somebody. And then I spent £49.52 on travel. Well, that was until 11:15 last night. Yeah, that figure is now £226.98. I'll go through what I spent. I basically bought foods to take away with me so that I didn't have to buy food when I was away. That now has gone out the window. I'll explain why. I bought gifts for people when I'm away, which I will probably still take with me. I spent £10 on phone credit for while I'm away because I have a SIM card for the region I'm going to. When I went away with my Tesco card, I couldn't phone overseas numbers without it eating into my phone credit. It wasn't in my monthly plan. I'm going to do some testing when I'm over there to see if I really need that SIM or if I can give that SIM up. It's only a pay-as-you-go SIM. Maybe I can give it up and it'll be cheaper to just use my UK SIM when I'm over there, as long as I don't have to phone any landlines that are overseas, because that definitely does come out of my phone credit. And then I paid £11.33 on travel insurance. Yes. That was the night before last. So I just got in with that. So that came to £49.52. But last night I bought another flight. I bought a flight on EasyJet to the same place. So that cost me £177.46. So the sum total of what I spent on travel was £226.98. I am hoping that I will get my original spend. What was that? Let's have a look back a little while. £189.98. So I'm hoping that I will get that back. I have put a dispute claim, I think they called it, in with my credit card provider. I haven't heard anything from them. I'm assuming they will want some sort of proof of the dates I was travelling, so we'll have to deal with that when it comes. I've got the credit card company. I bought it through a credit card, so hopefully I'll get my money back through the credit card company. And if they don't, then I've got the insurance company because I paid for the insurance. So I'm really hoping to get that money back. So I'm just going to carry on and spend as much on this trip as I was planning to before this happened, and hope that I get that money back and everything works out okay. And I think because it's likely I will get that money back, that I'm in a much better position than most people who've been affected by this loss of a travel operator. So, housing, I spent £75 on electric and £18.31 on water, coming to £93.31. And my incidentals. Yeah, this is where I need to add something. Just a second. You see, I'd done all my figures yesterday. I had done all my figures and they were spot on by 10 o'clock last night. I was not anticipating anything happening that would alter these figures, and then this happened. And before midnight, between 10:44 and midnight, I'd spent 300 odd pounds. So bear with. Okay, so incidentals were £197 and 9 pence. So let's go through that. I spent £6.60 on the pattern for my son, and I spent £14.99 on the hairdryer, and I spent £175 and 50 pence on a hotel at the airport because I'm not flying from the same airport. I'm flying from Birmingham Airport. I'm not flying at the same time. I'm flying 2 hours earlier in the morning. I have to be at the airport for 8 o'clock in the morning. And I get a huge amount of travel anxiety. I have pretty bad claustrophobia. I mean, it has led to a number of panic attacks. It's a being trapped thing. It's a fear of being trapped. And that can be by having lots of people around me. That can be by, being in a small place. That can be by being in a big place that's I can't get out of. I can fly, but I have to remain sort of in a state of meditation the whole time. Now, the process of getting on a plane is not conducive to being in a state of meditation. I have to do various things to get myself in that state and keep myself in that state while I progress through the stages of getting on the plane. And going through security just freaks me out. It really does, because you're being judged, aren't you? You're being judged and found wanting, and you're being barked at, and it's just, I find it extremely stressful. So I do lots of things. Like I try and get to the airport early. But when they started introducing only being able to check in a couple of hours before your flight, it was like, oh my God, terrible for me, because I used to get there really early, go through security really early, and then I might chill for hours on the other side. Didn't care, quite happy to sit and chill. As long as I was through security in good time, I had managed to keep myself in that state of calm. Part of it is knowing I will get to the airport on time, knowing that I will be there on time, not thinking, oh my God, am I going to be there on time? And this can mean booking a taxi very early, even if I know I can't check in, finding somewhere to wait at the airport until I can check in is preferable to being stressed on the journey to the airport. And the longer the journey, the more the stress of will I get there on time, because obviously there's more that can go wrong. And between me and Birmingham Airport, which is where I'm flying from, is motorway. And motorway that often is closed or slowed down or delayed because of accidents, as many motorways are. It's country roads between me and the airport I was going to fly from, which is East Midlands Airport. And yeah, I would have been okay with that. But the thought of trying to get to Birmingham Airport to get me deposited there for 8 o'clock, and my son was happy to drive me, but I just thought, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'll be in a state, and I don't know if I'll be able to get on that plane. So what I decided I had to do, and it wasn't a negotiation, I had to do it, was I had to buy a hotel at the airport. So that cost me £175.50. Yeah, no way around it, really. I mean, I don't think my insurance will cover that, because they'll go, yeah, you could have just driven in the morning. Yeah, but I just know for me, and for me to get on that plane, I kind of need to do it. Went on booking.com, booked the hotel, and then I thought, can my son actually drive to the hotel, or does my son need to drop me off at the airport drop-off zone? So I was looking the hotel up and immediately came across a room £40 cheaper than the one I'd just paid for. And that £40 is going to haunt me. It is going to haunt me, because it was a complete waste of money. I didn't need to pay £175. That is just really gutting that I didn't take the time. But it was late at night, I've got to give myself some leeway, because it was late at night. So anyway, incidentals, 197 and 9 pence. Then toiletries and cleaning, again over the various shops, £9.28. So let's look at how this spending has affected my monthlies. Okay, So for the month of November so far, I've had income of £1,733 and 6 pence. As you can see, I'm completely overspent on my monthlies. This has not happened before. And this is the incidentals, which is so huge. But also toiletries and cleaning, I've overspent on this month, but that was going to be balanced out. That was going to be fine. But it's not fine now. It's gone. But do you know what? Last month I did a review of how I've done on my budget so far. Let's get back to that. At the end of October, I looked at how I was doing in respect of the budget for the first 6 months of the year. And for my monthlies, the budget was £1,326 and I had spent £1,162 and 36 pence. So I had £160 there in my monthlies. So do you know what? I'm not going to worry about it too much. I know that means I'm kind of over where I should be, and at the end of this month, when I look at my monthlies, I'm going to say, oh, I'm over my budget. But if I manage to underspend in the next few months, I can recover that. That's doable. I can see that as being doable. So I'm not going to worry too much. So let's look now at how this affects my annual spending. So for my annual spending, my annual budget runs from 1st of May 2025 to 30th of May 2026. And as you can see, the first column is my budget of £17,810. I keep laughing, but you've got to laugh, haven't you? So I've had income over that period of £10,657.30. I have spent £9,607 and 91 pence. So, yeah, in my sinking fund, I have £1,049 and 39 pence. It's gone down a bit. So, going forward, I'm hoping to get a refund of nearly 190 quid. If not from my credit card, then from my insurance. I don't think they'll pay for the hotel. I think that's just something I'm going to have to bear. But other than that, it hasn't affected the cost of my trip at all. I'm staying with a friend. I'm borrowing a car from my brother. Yeah, it doesn't affect me in a way that it has affected loads of people. So I'm really relatively lucky. And there were flights. There were alternative flights. Now, I'm very lucky that my son contacted me, that I hadn't gone to bed yet, that I read the email and that I, message, and that I could immediately go online and start looking for other flights. There were some people, I'm sure, on that same flight as me who maybe don't know yet that the flight's been cancelled because Blue Islands hasn't contacted anybody. Blue Islands didn't contact me. So there are people who will turn up to the airport on Sunday and they won't be flying. So I've come off this relatively lightly, but I keep thinking about all the other people and I keep feeling a bit bad, like I've stolen someone else's place who is going to be negatively affected by this. But what could I do? What could I do? I had to do what I had to do. There wasn't anything else I could do. I really do feel for people who are going to be negatively affected by this, especially if they didn't have insurance, especially if they didn't have a credit card and didn't pay for this by credit card. I mean, it's possible that they will get the money back even if they paid by debit card, but it's a concern. Anyway, I will show you the video of me going through the stuff I bought from B&M. One of the issues that I've got when I rebooked is that EasyJet, you pay for bags separately. The provider I flew with before, you got a free hold bag with your ticket. And I think it was a 20-kilogram bag. So I didn't have to worry about what I was taking. But with EasyJet, I bought a 15-kilogram bag because it was £20 difference between the 15-kilogram and the 20-kilogram. And I know I can get my clothes in my case for 15-kilogram. I've done it before. And I thought the only other things I was planning to take was food that weighs more. And I thought that food isn't worth £20. It's not worth £20 to me to take that food over. I could buy it over there for less than £20 even with their extra prices. So I'm not taking a lot of the food I was going to take, which is going to increase my travel costs. It's very odd that on EasyJet you get a cabin bag for free. You don't have to pay for that, a small one, but it can be up to 15 kilos. Has to be a certain size, but it can be up to 15 kilos. So that's my job for today as well, is getting my case packed under 15 kilos. And I don't have scales. I'm just going to have to guess. And getting a small cabin bag packed to the dimensions that they require, that has as much stuff in it as I can carry. That is today's challenge. And it may mean that some of the things I was planning to take over and give to people, I can't, because it's not worth risking being over the 15 kilograms. It's just not. So yeah, next week I will be spending a bit more money on food than I was expecting to, but it's just how it is. It's just one of those things. I was just trying to shave off some costs by taking food, and now I'd be adding costs by taking food, or adding the risk cost. So it's not worth doing. So I don't know if I'll be doing a video next week. I think on the Saturday, actually, I am pretty busy. So probably not. I'll probably be making it on the Sunday or even the Monday, because light is a problem for me. I mean, that's why I'm sitting here right by my window, is it's so dark today. And I've tried making videos before with my ceiling lights on, and they were really grainy because it just wasn't picking up. And I know I could use the rear camera. I've tried using the rear camera on my phone, and I just could not get it to frame myself properly. It's much easier when you can see what the framing is. Hello, me. Probably take some video when I'm over there to show you. Depends where I go, what I do, who I see, and whether or not people are okay about being in the video. I know my son won't be. He absolutely will not be. He does not like me taking photographs of him at all. Not at all. So yes, he won't be, but other people may be. I may be near the coast and able to take photos of the lovely bays that are around where I am. So yeah, if I take nice photos, I will show you next week. But otherwise, you won't hear from me. I might post. I might put a couple of posts up. I'm going to take my laptop because I have some work to do over there. Again, that's something I must prep today. So actually, I've got quite a lot to do today. Better start getting on with it. Anyway, the plan was I would spend £12.99 off my voucher today. I've spent £23.32. So let's have a look at what I bought. Firstly, the hairdryer. This is exactly what I planned to get, and I've got it. What else did I get? Well, as I walked in, immediately I saw this cookie for 59p, and I thought, you know, my friend likes penguins. I'm going to take that for my friend that I'm staying with overseas, just as a little something, part of my thank yous. I'll have to see if I can get that sticker off without ripping through the plastic wrap. So that was the first thing. Then I was looking at the coffee there. There was no jars that were cheap. In fact, the coffee there seemed really expensive, I thought, in B&M compared to what I spend on my coffee at Tesco and Asda normally. But then I noticed they had these boxes. This one, the double chocolate mocha, was £1.75. Now there's 7 cups in there, and I thought I'm away for 7 days. So why don't I get that? That's one a day, every day that I'm away, and I can have tea the rest of the time because I'm having a proper coffee. So I got these, £1.75. It's not bad. That's what, 20 something pence a drink. Then I noticed panettone. You've noticed by now I really like panettone. This is one with milk chocolate chips. Also not bad on the salt. 0.32 gram, was just over low salt. I don't know what it looks, how big it is, but it's rattling away in there. So I think it's quite small. I think it's actually quite small, but that's fine. I'm going to leave this in the cupboard for when I come back. Cost £1, and I thought that was Pretty good, although it's only 80 grams. I'm not sure how much the small ones I've been getting are, but it doesn't feel like there's anything. It feels like it's sort of right in the centre there with a lot of space around it. But still, it's a taste of panettone, and that's fine. The next thing I got was, I noticed in one aisle that they had scents for really low prices. This is called Rose Dawn. They had some testers, and I stopped, and I'm covered in lovely smells now. And I really like some of the smells, and I thought, wow, that's a cheap way to get a bit of a scent. I'll get some of those. And all of the testers that I liked didn't have anything for sale of that scent. They must have been left over from previous scents they'd had for sale. I bought this one blind because I like a rose, although I like a rose with usually something extra, a bit of a spicy rose really. But let's have a little sniff. Hope it's not horrible. So yeah, I've just tried that. I think I like it. I'm covered in scents, different scents, so it's really hard to tell. I'll have another go tomorrow and see what I think. After getting that, deciding to get that, I mean, £3.99 for a scent is nothing, is it? I've got some delicious smells wafting up from my hands. Yeah, really lovely. I shall sleep well tonight with my hands curled under my face. And then I noticed these 4 AAA batteries. I'm going to try them in a second. Right. And then I saw this pack of marshmallows. Now, you've probably worked out by now that I'm a bit of a fan of the marshmallow. I think they were cheaper ones in Aldi, but they weren't free. I'd have had to pay for them. I didn't have to pay for these because I had a voucher. So I got them. Let's see if I can get that thermometer to work. After I went to B&M, I went to Tesco because I still needed to get a card for my son. Got a card for my son. Also picked up some more of my coffee, my decaf coffee. The card was £2 and the decaf was £2.65, which is a much better price than £3 something for 100 gram. But yes, so that's what I'll do. I'll take this with me, these sachets, probably not in the box. I'll probably put them in a bag. I'll take these sachets with me, have one a day, and I'll take some tea bags with me. And that's what I'll have if I want anything other than a cup of coffee. Right, well, that's my shop tonight. So I hope you have a nice week. Thank you very much for watching to the end of the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.